Welcome to Art Tech Talk. Tilina, so something has to come out, be there for some little while, and then only we're gonna know how good and bad it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's the case for Pixel 2.
So everyone had high hopes for this, but last time also there were some issues with it, right?
So most of the issues normally that comes out when a phone comes out, it's software related, right?
Yeah.
It's not hardware. So in this case, it looks like hardware, right?
Yeah, and it looks pretty bad also.
Correct.
But this applies only for the larger version of
XL,
the phone.
Pixel 2
yeah.
XL.
So because the screen is not Samsung.
Yes.
So a lot of phone manufacturers, including Apple, I think, use Samsung as their provider, right?
Yes.
So in this case, in XL2, they use a LG AMOLED type of OLED screen. So I think the issue is mainly with that.
Yeah. So what's happening right now is we are talking about what has happened. So basically, it's called screen burning. So screen burning is when back in the days of CRT is commonly known, right?
Yeah.
So if you have like a static image that doesn't change, then the screen's going even when you switch off the screen, even if you're displaying something else, you're going to see the ghost effect, right?
Yeah.
So that's what a screen burning is. So this is there on everything. Even if you take a LCD TV, so let's say a regular TV that you have at home, if you keep a static image in place, or if you keep on watching the same TV channel, if that logo is there on a certain place, that's gonna get burned in. So there are various.
But Karthik, it takes quite a bit of time, right?
Correct.
It can't be in like weeks, right?
Correct. So that's because these newer displays has technologies built into it that prevents this from happening, right?
Yeah.
So they automatically refresh the pixels. They do a lot of things just to make sure that this screen burning doesn't happen. So it's pretty good in terms of phones because there are a lot of static images that stays there, right?
Yeah.
So, but for some reason, Pixel 2 displays are getting burn-in images. So that basically means if you keep your home screen on for a certain amount of time, you're gonna get that. So
and also, I think the clock and the time is always on.
Correct.
On the OS as well.
Yeah. So that's there on even on these phones. What you can do is you can have this always on-screen feature, right?
Yeah.
Which I mean I personally think it's pointless, but a lot of people seems to like it, right? Some people have this star kind of effects, but
the advantage is on AMOLED screen the power consumption is not that much, right?
Correct.
I mean only the screen pixels which need to show lights up. And
so OLEDs and AMOLED both has this advantage of just let's say for example on this phone, let's say if you take a typical LCD or LED. So now again there's a so LCD, even though LCD and LED both has the LCD panels, right? So what the LED refers to is the backlighting. So for a LCD display to display an image, it need a light source.
Okay.
So earlier models of these LCD TVs, I mean like that's what commonly we know, right? LCD TVs had a CF bulb behind it, which consume a lot of amount of energy as well as the color accuracy is not the greatest, right? So
and also heat is
generated. Then we got this so-called LED TVs, right? LED TVs, LED panels. Even if you take a computer, it's LED, right? So LEDs again comes into two different categories. One is the backlit, one is the edge lit, right? So if it's a backlit, what happens is if you take this as a LCD screen, there's like a row of LEDs.
Grid kind of thing.
So it's not like you're gonna have like thousands of LEDs there, right? 10, 15 LEDs with a diffuser on, where it's gonna give the what do you call the light to the crystal, right? So LCD is basically liquid crystal displays, right? So a pixel, let's say take a pixel. So pixel is a one dot in the screen that display either a color. So it's basically if you have like a color screen, you get 3 pixels, right? So you get red, white, blue, and yellow. So that's the 3 colors that used to display an image, right? So that pixel, what happens is it has the option to either, so let's say this is the light source coming in. If this is the pixel, it can be closed. If it's closed, what happens is you see the black color, right? So if it's partly open, you can like control the amount of green or red or blue that comes out, right? Because each pixel color can be controlled individually, right? On an AMOLED or a so on an AMOLED, what happens is there are no black lights. So it's actually LED that's emitting the color, right? So if you have the tricolors, you have 3 LEDs actually so small in a pixel, right? So with this, the advantage is even if I have to show a dot on a screen, I have to have that entire backlit on, right? So there has been certain variation where you get local dimming, where that array of LEDs doesn't really have to be switched on. You only switch on the ones that really need it.
Right.
But this gives ghosting effects, things like that.
Blacks are not really black.
So on a LCD or a LED TV, you can't get perfect blacks, right? Because that black light is always on. But on AMOLED, the thing is you can have that black, because if it's off, it's basically mean there's nothing coming out. So with this, what happens is screens now can have this always on displays, because you only need to have that certain LEDs turned on on the panel. So this is the advantage, right? So what I can't understand is how this burning happen on this, because if a burning to happen, that LED needs to be on for a really long amount of time, right?
And also what people are complaining is that the colors doesn't look as vivid as the Samsung display. So it's a software limitation, calling. So they have blocked only the IPS colors, so it looks a bit dull.
Correct.
But app developers has the option to like switch on the full palette.
So it's the same with even with this Samsung phones. It's the same, right? It's a Quad HD screen, right? So what happens is it stays on HD just to preserve power. So unless you really need it, it won't go into that vivid kind of, because the more information you're going to display, more power it's right?
Sure.
So that the phone need to be smart enough to understand what's being displayed. For example, now this has HDR on it, right? So let's say if I'm watching something in HDR, it's going to give the full potential of the display, but it's going to drain my battery faster. So let's say I'm looking at a web page, it doesn't need to, right? So it goes to the HD resolution, it's going to give you the basic amount of power, the display capacity that I need. But the differentiation is still in you can either have it fully on or switch it off, or have it on auto.
So calling, the thing is when you're browsing a photo or something on a web page, then there's not a noticeable difference, right? So they need to like the OS need to be smart enough to detect that.
So it can be either the OS or the application, right? If the application is smart enough and the application does understand that these capabilities are there.
What I hear is the Firefox app on Pixel 2 gives the full color range, but the Chrome obviously doesn't.
So the problem is, again, you need to decide, right, whether you want that full color that you might even not notice, which will ultimately drain your battery faster, or just get that experience where you have the phone, you have the battery life, and you get the decent amount of experience. I mean, I think maybe that's why Chrome hasn't done it, right? So I mean, I rather save my battery than even on my phone. I mean, I actually don't see a difference when I use normal apps or even browsing the internet. Maybe my eyesight is not that great. So it depends, right, in what you like. So we need to take a small break. See you after this. Welcome back. So Tilina, now the next thing, when you order something, the postman comes in, no one is at home, he goes, unless he's really nice enough to hand it over to a neighbor, which most cases people don't like.
I'm sure anyone who has ordered on eBay in Sri Lanka has faced this.
I face it every day, right? So it's not only on Facebook, right? Or even when I order from somewhere else.
eBay.
So what happens is it comes in. Most of the time when they come in, we are not there, right? It's like logically It happens all the time. So with the post office, what happens is they'll leave a letter out. You go back, you collect it. Right?
Or they might forget it altogether.
Yeah, if you're lucky. So this problem not only exists in Sri Lanka, it exists everywhere, right? So Amazon and a lot of courier companies in the US, what they do is they just leave it on your doorstep.
Yeah.
And no one takes it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that, right?
But yeah, there's that problem also. I mean, we have seen on YouTube people stealing other people's
packages. Yeah. So, but it's really happened. That's because that's why they do it, right? It's not like a massive crime that a lot of people go and steal your. But here, imagine if someone leaves a package on your doorstep. So to overcome this, what Amazon is, because people do steal these packages time to time. So what they're trying to do is they want you to let them go inside your house and give them the key, right? So it's not like you're physically giving them a key.
Yeah.
But what they're trying to do is put this internet connected locks,
right,
where the locks is connected. So the courier person can actually open the door and leave it inside your house.
Right.
Will you do it?
It's quite a decision to make, right?
Yeah. So what would you do? I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
so what if it gets hacked, then everyone can?
So that's the question I have. It's not that I don't trust the person who's bringing this package, right? I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, then actually we know who the person is. Amazon has the employee records, like something is there, right?
Yeah.
It's not him that I'm worried about. It's the other people who. I mean, once you connect something to the internet, that's it, right?
I think the way people are going to do it is like have two locks and use this one only when you have a delivery.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So there's something called a Ring doorbell, right? I mean, there are a lot of variation of this. There's the famous one is called the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
So the Ring doorbell, what it is a Wi-Fi connected doorbell.
Okay.
You put it outside. I mean, wherever. Let's say your gate, maybe your door. So people.
It's something similar to what we have here, the intercom.
So it's similar to intercom, but this is an internet connected one, right? So let's say someone comes and press the bell. If you're not at home, it comes as a call to your phone.
Right.
So then you can actually have a conversation with that person while looking at the person, right?
So it has a camera.
It has a camera in it. Okay. So not only that, it has motion detection. So let's say it detects some motion, it will send you an alert with an image on it. So those kind of things are there.
Yeah.
So then you need to figure out. So if that can be connected to your lock, when the Amazon person comes in or some other party, right, you can make the decision to open it up or not, right?
Yeah. So this lock also comes with a camera, Kalinga. So
correct. I know that, but I mean, I would rather have another third-party service that actually piggyback on this. Right? So because then I have two factors of authentication, like I said. So Amazon can have their own lock, right? I'll have my own lock. So Amazon guy can unlock it. Once it unlocks, I should have a way of getting to know that the Amazon person is actually unlocked it. Then I can actually let the person in, right? So I need to have somewhat of a confirmation on my end as well, so that they can go in.
And also one more thing, what people are suggesting on internet is that you can have a huge lockbox kind of thing in your lawn. Install the lock there.
What if the internet goes down? In Sri Lanka, this would never work, right? But I mean, that's where the technology is going, right? So I mean, that's what we have to look at, right? So I mean, I know a person who's like, there's something called, I mean, since you're on this concept, there's something called where you can embed a chip into your hand, right? So it's a RF chip. So actually then you can have your house, door locks, everything RF connected, where you literally don't need a key. You just touch the lock and it detects you, it unlocks you, and then you can go inside, right? So those things are not fiction anymore, it's actually available, you can buy it, it's there.
First they were on the browser and they were like listening to us. And now they want to get into our house.
I mean, in terms of, let's say for example, my house, people can watch me, people can hear me. I mean, what else? So I mean, it's not only that, they can hear me quite well because I have multiple Amazon devices all over the place. So the phone is there. I carry the phone all the time, so they know where I am. So I mean, just imagine, right? So we think that these are science fiction. Most people would think, yeah, this is science fiction. No, actually, so my service provider knows where I am, the mobile provider, at any given time. Then Google knows where I am. Any other app I have knows where I am. For example, let's say you have a taxi booking app. They know where you are all the time, right?
And also a lot of the messaging apps, when you like let them use your geolocation once, sometimes it's there forever, right?
Correct.
The permission. So
correct. And they know your patterns as well. That's where the importance is. It's not that it knows where you are.
It also knows what you're going to do tomorrow as well.
Correct. So hold on to that thought. We'll take a small break and let's talk about it a little bit more after this. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about, I mean, how our privacy is no longer exists, right? So I mean, before few shows, I mean, we spoke about Kaspersky being banned in the US, and the government organization has been advised to remove it. Because US government somehow believe that Kaspersky was involved in certain amount of gathering data of US intelligence, right?
Because it's a Russian company. Right?
Correct. Okay. So there has been a back and forth thingy. Kaspersky say no, we haven't done this, but the government is saying, but no one is giving a clear indication of what exactly has happened, right? There are a lot of theories out there, right? So Kaspersky said, look, if you don't trust us, we'll give you a source code to be reviewed, right? But a lot of security experts are laughing at this, right? So your code can be perfect, right? So what the code does is it collects information, they send it back to a third party, and I mean, even then, how would we really know the application we install is actually originated from that code, right? So that's what they say. Look, these guys might give this out. Even they have condition about who they are giving this code to, what company they are giving it to, right? So that's
obviously that's their software, right? They are not going to like publicly.
They're not going to put it publicly. So if it's open source, we can at least come to a point where say, look, this is it, this is.
So then we have to like have the chance to like download the code and build it ourselves.
Correct. So I mean, even in open source, still people have this thinking that they're safe in open source, right? Nothing is going to be there, so this is like open, everyone has seen it. But how many people actually download the source code and compile it by themselves, right? No one does
Only
it.
like 1%, maybe less.
I mean, I never done it. I mean, I've done it, but like in terms of like the mass products we use, we don't do it, right? Unless we really have to, we don't do it. So I mean, we use all these repositories, like when it goes to this open sources, they have like repositories maintained by third party, which we don't even know.
We always look for the setup binary file.
We download it, we install it. So that's the thing, right? It can be open source, someone can audit that code out, but the actual application we install, we might not be the case, right? So that's the same thing with, so for example, one of those famous cab companies was actually recording screens of iPhones, right? I mean, like this is a global company, not a Sri Lankan company, but it's a global company. And then actually, who has given them the access to this was Apple. So Apple has given the internal secret APIs to this company, so they can screen record. So this, I mean, it's amazing, right? So so since you're going into this GPS realm, we'll talk about it, right? For example, so my phone knows that I get up at this time. And it was surprising. One day this phone actually pops up and said, since you are going to sleep at 11 something, right? And said, would you like me to set something up? I was like, what? So he knows when am I going to sleep, right? So how it knows is, so basically it's easy to detect, right, these kind of logical things. So the phone can identify that I stop using the phone.
Yeah.
Since it's an accelerometer and a gyro, it knows that the phone is stop moving.
Yeah.
And then it also know that I plug it into charge. So it's easy to gather all those data together, and this is what everyone calls about big data, right?
Yeah.
So this is big data, right? So it knows my GPS location, it knows I'm at home, it knows that I stopped using the phone because I didn't touch it,
Yeah.
and it knows that it's not even in the move, it's at the same location, and plus it got the charger plugged in.
Yeah.
So it basically knows every day. Yesterday I went to sleep at this time. So this has been an issue with one of the famous players, OnePlus.
Okay.
So they have been gathering this data and sending it back.
Okay.
So most phones and these kind of devices, what they do, they keep the data local and they analyze it and give you certain amount of things, right? So in terms of GPS, it knows that I go into this, it knows that I travel this route.
Yeah.
It knows that, I mean, it might even know where my daughter goes to school, right? It's because I take the phone, I drop her off, then I go back, right?
Yeah.
It knows where I work. So, I mean, it knows everything. It knows what I look for, what I search for. It knows what I talk about because I message. So basically, privacy is no more if you are using internet connected devices, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you collectively get all this information, Amazon knows what I buy, what I like, what I search for. It knows what I say at home because it listens to it.
And also, I've seen that Google is now providing foot traffic data as well. I mean, when you like go and visit a shop,
correct,
not
so,
online.
Yeah. So I mean,
In real
the
life.
biggest thing is one. I mean, I was going in a taxi and this guy was talking about how traffic works, right, on Google Maps.
Yeah.
So I was like talking about it, and he was like saying this is being used by a satellite. The satellite detect the traffic,
Yeah.
and all that. So he was under the impression the satellite does this, right? So it's not satellites who does it, right? It actually Google use the data.
It's us.
Us.
Yeah.
So when we use Google Maps, it accurately tracks us. When we don't use Google Maps, it tracks us still, provided you don't switch it off.
Yeah. So the thing is, Google has so many services, right? Even in almost all the websites we have, Google and Facebook have their code in it, right?
Correct.
And that way they can learn what we are doing.
So Google provides these services free of charge, right? Google Analytics is one of the major ones, right?
Yeah.
So Analytics is there on 99% of the websites.
True. Yeah.
So Google knows even the website you visit to, right?
And Facebook also the same now.
Yeah, Facebook knows about it. One person was recently talking to me and asking, so he was looking at the product text on a website, and he went to Facebook, and there was an ad about that product from that website.
Yeah.
He was really surprised how this worked, right? So it's quite simple. So Facebook put that site put this Facebook tracking code in, which Facebook provide. Then when you look at that product, Facebook actually knows that you looked at that product, right? And then that company can actually tell Facebook, look, if someone comes and look at this product, show this ad to that person.
Yeah.
So then what happens is when you log into Facebook, Facebook knows you looked at that product.
And they start marketing.
They start putting that ad out, and that's how they make money, right?
Yeah.
That's simply how advertising works, right? So then you might wonder how that website knew, even without you having Facebook, how did it knew, right? So that code actually detects something called a tracking cookie, right? So when you log into a website like Facebook, it keeps some information in your computer. So even if you don't logged into Facebook, even when you go into that site, Facebook can still see that information and
because in
identify
the Facebook domain, all cookies are shared.
Correct. So if you like to know about these kind of things, let us know.
I mean, we went a bit technical this time.
Correct. So if you want to go into more technical detail, let us know. So how you can get in touch with us is dropping us an email at techtalk@takasalk.com or go to the TV Facebook page or the YouTube channel. So that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.